Pain is not the end, it's the beginning. There's a moment in life when everything seems to come crashing down. You're left standing in the middle of the wreckage, wondering how you got there, questioning why life dealt you this hand. Maybe you lost someone. Maybe the job you poured your soul into slipped through your fingers. Maybe life didn't just whisper, no. It screamed it in your face. And in those moments, the world grows quiet and the pain becomes louder than anything else. That ache in your chest, that weight on your back, the heaviness in your heart, it makes you feel like it's all over. Like you're done. Finished. But that's the illusion pain sells you. It tells you you've reached the end of the road. But what if that pain is the gatekeeper to something greater? Because here's the truth: pain doesn't come to break you. It comes to reveal you. It shows you what you're really made of. It strips away the surface, the pretenses, the comfort zones, and exposes the raw version of you, the real you. Not the version that shows up when life is smooth, but the one who shows up when everything is falling apart. That version is powerful, because that version has nothing left to prove to the world and everything to prove to themselves. Pain doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're being redirected. You see, the seed has to be buried in darkness before it can grow. A diamond doesn't shine until it's been cut. Steel doesn't strengthen until it's been through fire. So if you're in the dark, if you're feeling the weight of the pressure, if you're walking through the fire, understand this: you're not dying. You're being forged. The greatest transformations in life don't come when you're comfortable. They come when you're pressed, when you're tested, when you think you've reached your limit, and then pain says, not yet. That moment, that breaking point, is not your defeat, it's your decision point. Do you quit or do you rise? Do you let this moment define you, or do you define it? You think pain is your enemy, but it's your instructor. It's teaching you to endure, to focus, to appreciate, to slow down, to toughen up, to fight harder, to walk taller, to pray deeper, to think clearer. Pain will teach you things success never could. You can't find wisdom at the mountaintop unless you've crawled through the valley. Some people try to run from pain. They numb it, avoid it, blame others for it. But what you run from, you can never conquer. And what you refuse to face will never free you. But when you stop running, when you stare your pain in the eyes and say, I'm not afraid of you anymore, that's when you start winning. That's when the healing begins. That's when growth starts. Because pain is not just something you go through. It's something you grow through. Pain will wake up the parts of you that were sleeping. It will force you to dig deeper, reach further, and rise higher. It will challenge everything you thought you knew about yourself. And when it's done, you won't be the same. You'll be wiser, stronger, more focused, more grounded. You'll walk different, talk different. You'll carry a presence that can't be taught, because it was earned. This isn't the end of your story. This is the part of the book where the plot twists, where the character goes through something that changes them forever. This is the scene where you fall, but it's also the one where you decide to rise. And when you rise from this, you'll carry a power that pain could never take from you, only give to you. Your struggle has a purpose. It may not feel like it right now. When life is heavy, when the nights are long, and the mornings feel like burdens instead of beginnings, it's easy to believe that your pain is meaningless, that you're just going through hardship for the sake of suffering. But struggle is never random. It's never without reason. Every battle you're facing, every setback, every scar, it's shaping something inside you that ease never could. It's sculpting your character, refining your spirit, aligning your path with a purpose bigger than the pain you're feeling right now. The problem is, we often look at struggle as something to escape instead of something to understand. We say, why me? When maybe the real question is, what is this teaching me? Because hidden inside every struggle is a seed of wisdom, a seed of resilience, a seed of purpose. And just like any seed, it has to be buried. It has to be pressed by the weight of the earth. It has to break open in darkness before it grows into anything that reaches the light. Sometimes, struggle isolates you. It separates you from the familiar, from the people you thought would always be there. It takes away your comforts and shakes your foundations. But maybe that's not punishment. Maybe that's preparation. Maybe the people who walked away weren't meant to go with you to the next chapter. Maybe the loss wasn't to destroy you, but to declutter your life of things that were keeping you small. Maybe the silence isn't rejection, but space. Space for something new, something higher, something that aligns with the calling on your life. And yes, it's hard. There are moments you feel invisible. Moments you feel like your prayers are hitting the ceiling. But strength is not built in the moments you feel strong. Strength is built in the moments you feel weak and still choose to keep going. It's in the quiet decisions, the invisible battles, the nights you cry yourself to sleep but wake up and face the day anyway. That's strength. That's growth. That's purpose unfolding, even if it doesn't look like it yet. Look at anyone who's ever accomplished something great, truly great, and behind every success story, there's a chapter of pain, a season of doubt, a period of struggle that almost took them out. And yet, it was that very struggle that equipped them, the fire that refined them, the pressure that produced something powerful. What if your current struggle is doing the same for you? You weren't put here just to exist. You were put here to impact, to inspire, to become. And becoming is not easy. Becoming means breaking through layers of who you thought you were. It means facing fears, letting go of what's comfortable, and walking through the dark when the path ahead isn't clear. That's what struggle does. It strips away the excess and reveals the essence. Your essence, the part of you that was always meant to lead, to rise, to shine. There will be times when the weight of it feels like too much, when you wonder if you're doing anything right. But struggle has a way of digging up what's real. It forces you to look in the mirror and ask, who am I really? What do I believe in? What do I stand for when everything around me is falling apart? And the answers to those questions, that's where your purpose lies. Not in the comfort, not in the applause, but in the hard places, in the grind, in the solitude, in the breaking. Purpose is not something you find. It's something you live into, something you grow through. And struggle is the path that takes you there. Not a detour, not a mistake, but the very road you were meant to walk to become everything you were designed to be. Your struggle is not proof of your failure. It's evidence of your transformation in progress. You were built for the storm, not for the sunshine days, not for the smooth roads, not for the quiet seasons where everything falls perfectly into place. You were built for the chaos, the noise, the winds that howl and threaten to tear your world apart. You were built for the moments that demand more from you than you thought you had. The moments that test your patience, your resolve, your very identity. Because the storm doesn't come to the weak. The storm comes to those with the capacity to endure it. And not just to endure it, to grow in it, to rise through it, to become something more because of it. There's a reason the waves haven't drowned you. There's a reason you're still standing when everything around you has tried to knock you down. You carry something within you that no storm can destroy. Something that was formed long before the winds began to blow. A quiet strength, a fire in your soul, a grit in your bones. It doesn't always roar, but it never quits. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you powerful. The storm doesn't break you, it awakens you. Every challenge you've faced up until now was preparing you. You didn't go through all that pain for nothing. You didn't survive the losses, the disappointments, the failures, just to fall apart now. No, what you've been through was the training ground, the sharpening, the building, the internal forging of someone who doesn't just weather storms. They walk through them with their head high and their heart intact. You've been prepared in silence for a battle most people never saw coming. And when it arrived, you didn't run. You didn't fold. You didn't hide. You stood up. The truth is, some storms aren't meant to be avoided. Some storms are sent to reveal what's real. To strip away the fake strength, the hollow confidence, the shallow belief systems. When everything gets shaken, that's when your foundation gets tested. And when your foundation is built on purpose, on truth, on faith, it holds. It might bend. It might sway. But it won't break. That's what lives inside of you. That's what the storm exposes, not your weakness, but your strength. People often say, I wish it was easier. But maybe it's not supposed to be easier. Maybe you were given this mountain to show the world it can be moved. Maybe the very thing that seems to be trying to destroy you is the thing that will define you. Because anyone can stand tall when the sky is blue, but not everyone can stay rooted when the thunder rolls and the rain won't stop. That takes another level of resilience, a different kind of spirit, and you've got that. There's something sacred about the fight that no one sees. The internal battle that rages when you're trying to keep your hope alive, when you're trying to stay focused, when you're exhausted but you keep showing up anyway. That kind of strength can't be taught in a classroom. It's earned. It's lived. It's bled for. You were built in those hidden moments, in the silence, in the struggle, in the nights you thought you couldn't make it, but somehow you did. Those are the moments that made you stormproof. The storm doesn't get to tell you who you are. The wind doesn't define your worth. The rain doesn't write your story. You've already made it through worse. You've already survived things that once made you question everything. And yet, here you are, still breathing, still standing, still moving forward with the weight of the storm on your back and purpose in your heart. That's not weakness. That's power disguised as perseverance. That's what makes you unstoppable. Because even when it hurts, even when it's hard, even when the path isn't clear, you rise, you adapt, you endure, you thrive. Not because life is easy, but because you are built for this. Shift your perspective, not your purpose. There are times in life when the path gets unclear. You start questioning everything, your dreams, your calling, your decisions. You hit roadblocks that make you wonder if you're headed in the wrong direction. You hear the voices in your head telling you to give up, to settle, to stop chasing what sets your soul on fire. But those moments of doubt aren't a signal to quit. They're a signal to shift, to look at your situation through a new lens. Because your purpose hasn't changed. It's just waiting on you to see it from a higher place. Too many people walk away from something powerful because their current results don't match their expectations. They assume delay means denial. That obstacles mean they chose wrong. But what if the resistance is part of the preparation? What if the confusion is growing clarity? What if it's not your purpose that needs changing, but your mindset? When we get tired, frustrated, or discouraged, the first thing we do is question our direction. We forget why we started. We forget the passion, the fire, the conviction that once burned in our chest. And we try to rearrange the entire plan just to escape the discomfort of the moment. But pain is not always a sign you're doing something wrong. Sometimes it's the sign that you're stretching, expanding, evolving, that you're getting closer to who you were meant to become. Purpose isn't about comfort. It's about calling. It doesn't always make sense in the moment. It doesn't always look like progress. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like failure. But when you zoom out, when you take your eyes off the temporary and focus on the eternal, you begin to see that every twist and turn is part of the design. Every setback is setting something up, and every no is guiding you to a better yes. But to see that, you have to shift your perspective. You have to stop looking at life through the eyes of defeat. You have to stop interpreting the storm as rejection and start seeing it as refinement. Your purpose didn't disappear just because it got hard. Purpose doesn't vanish in the face of adversity. It gets tested. It gets challenged. And in that challenge, it grows stronger, sharper, more real. When you shift your perspective, you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you start asking, what is this building in me? That one change will take you from victim to victor, from being stuck to being strategic. You'll realize that the very thing you thought was slowing you down might be what's shaping you into the kind of person who can handle the weight of your vision. This life isn't about speed, it's about substance. And sometimes the process will slow you down so you can dig deeper, so you can root yourself in something that won't shake when the winds blow. Purpose without perspective can feel like pressure. But when you align your vision with your mission, the obstacles don't disappear, They just don't defeat you anymore. You stop running from the hard seasons and you start learning from them. You stop fearing failure and you start embracing growth. You weren't made to be average. You weren't made to shrink to fit the limitations others placed on you. Your purpose was never small. It was just waiting for your perspective to catch up. The moment you choose to see your current situation as training, not punishment, everything changes. Your pain becomes fuel, your detours become lessons, and your doubts become reminders that you're human, but you're also chosen. So no matter how loud the storm gets, how uncertain the path becomes, don't rewrite your purpose to match your pain. Reframe your pain to align with your purpose. The vision still stands. The dream still matters. But you've got to lift your head, shift your focus, and start seeing the process not as the end, but as the making of something greater than you ever imagined. Let the fire refine you, not destroy you. Life doesn't ask for permission before it turns up the heat. It doesn't wait for you to be ready before it drops you into the flames. One day, everything's going the way you planned, and the next, it feels like the ground is crumbling beneath your feet. The people you trusted let you down. The plans you made fall apart. The identity you built starts to feel unfamiliar. And you're left standing in the middle of the fire, questioning who you are and how you're going to make it out. That's when the real test begins, not just of your strength, but of your character, your vision, your purpose. That's when the fire comes, not to burn you to ash, but to burn off everything that no longer serves you. Fire is a force of transformation. In nature, it clears out the old to make space for the new. In life, it does the same. The fire will expose what's weak, what's false, what's temporary. It doesn't play favorites. It doesn't hide the truth. It brings everything to the surface, your fears, your doubts, your insecurities, so that you have no choice but to face them. And in that confrontation, something sacred happens. You either let the fire break you down, or you let it build you up. But that choice is yours. The fire doesn't decide who you become. You do. You can sit in the ashes and cry about what was lost, or you can rise from them and declare what will be built. And let's be real. Choosing to rise doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. It doesn't mean you don't cry, that you don't feel the weight of every loss. It just means you refuse to let the pain define you. You choose to let it refine you. You let it polish the parts of you that were hidden. You let it awaken the strength you forgot you had. You let it teach you, shape you, stretch you. Because pressure without purpose is pain, but pressure with perspective becomes power. Sometimes we're so focused on escaping the fire that we miss what it's trying to do for us. Maybe it's not here to punish you. Maybe it's here to prepare you, to strip away your dependence on things that were never meant to carry you, to shift your focus back to what's real, to remind you that who you are becoming matters more than what you've lost. The fire doesn't just test your limits, it reveals them, and then it challenges you to go further. You might not recognize yourself right now. You might feel unsteady, uncertain, undone. That's part of the process. Refinement isn't pretty. It's raw. It's uncomfortable. It's relentless. But when it's done, you won't just come out stronger. You'll come out clearer. Clearer about who you are, about what you stand for, about what you're capable of. You'll look back and realize that the things you thought would destroy you actually delivered you to a new level of growth, wisdom, and resilience. The fire is never easy, but it's necessary, because comfort doesn't build champions. Easy roads don't lead to strong souls. It's the heat, the tension, the trials that shape greatness. It's the moments when you want to quit, but choose to keep going that define your legacy. And every time you make that choice, you are becoming something unshakable. You are being forged into a version of yourself that fear can't touch, that failure can't hold, that doubt can't destroy. Refinement is never gentle. It pulls at the deepest parts of you. It requires you to let go of what's familiar. But in return, it gives you something far more valuable: clarity, strength, courage, and truth. You won't walk out of the fire the same way you walked in. And that's the point. The fire is meant to change you. Not into someone else, but into the real you. The one who's been buried under layers of fear, distraction, and insecurity. The one who is finally ready to rise from the flames and become everything they were meant to be. Greatness requires resistance. It doesn't come wrapped in comfort. It doesn't arrive at your door with ease or convenience. Greatness is not born in still waters. It's forged in the storm, in the weight, in the pressure that most people spend their lives avoiding. The world might applaud talent, but it's resistance that builds greatness. Because talent without pressure stays potential. It's resistance that sharpens raw strength into refined power. It's resistance that turns a dreamer into a doer, a thinker into a warrior, a beginner into a master. You can't grow without struggle. Ask the seed that pushes through the soil to become a tree. Ask the muscle that tears so it can rebuild stronger. Ask the mind that is challenged by failure until it learns to think deeper, move smarter, act bolder. Resistance is the hidden architect behind every strong soul. It's the weight that builds the spiritual, mental, and emotional muscle to carry what success will demand. Without resistance, you don't develop endurance. Without endurance, you don't develop perseverance. And without perseverance, you don't cross the finish line when others fall behind. Most people want results without resistance. They want to win without the work. But the truth is, the process is non-negotiable. You don't get to bypass the pain. You don't get to skip the struggle. You have to walk through it. You have to carry the weight. That's how you earn it. That's how you transform from who you are into who you were meant to be. Greatness doesn't show up when you feel ready. It shows up when you've been tested. And the test always includes resistance. Resistance will push you to your edge. It'll challenge your patience, frustrate your progress, and make you question your calling. But that's where growth lives, on the other side of pressure. You learn how much you truly want it when you're tempted to quit. You find out what you're made of when you hit a wall and choose to climb instead of surrender. Resistance reveals your priorities. It strips away excuses and exposes what you value most. When things get hard, do you hide or do you hustle? When things fall apart, do you fold or do you fight? That answer determines everything. It's easy to talk about dreams when the path is clear. It's easy to be motivated when the wind is at your back. But true greatness is proven when you stand up in the middle of the storm, when you get up after life knocks you down, when you show up tired, uncertain, and bruised but still refuse to give up. That's the moment greatness is watching. Not when it's glamorous, but when it's gritty. Resistance teaches you discipline. It teaches you how to keep going when you don't feel like it. It teaches you how to lead yourself before anyone else will follow. And in that quiet, daily grind, where no one's clapping, no one's watching, and no one's handing you anything, you develop the integrity that success will demand. Because if you can't handle resistance in private, you won't survive exposure in public. Everything worthwhile comes with resistance. Every purpose, every breakthrough, every level of success has a price. And that price is often discomfort, failure, setbacks, and sacrifice. Greatness is not given. It's revealed. It's uncovered through 1,000 small battles that most people never see. The early mornings, the late nights, the disappointments, the doubts, the days when nothing goes right, but you still choose to keep going. That's resistance in motion. That's greatness under construction. You weren't meant to live on autopilot. You weren't designed for mediocre. There's a fire in you, a call on your life, a vision in your heart, and it will take resistance to bring it to life. Resistance is not the enemy. It's the environment where excellence is born. It's the training ground where the unshakable is developed, where the extraordinary is carved out of the ordinary. And the more resistance you face, the more power you build to rise beyond it. Your comeback starts now, not tomorrow, not when everything feels right, not when the stars align and the pain disappears. Right now, in the middle of the mess, in the quiet moments when no one believes in you, when even you are struggling to believe in yourself. This is the moment you decide that falling was not the end of your story. The moment you take back the pen and begin writing again, not from a place of defeat, but from a place of power. You've been through enough. You've been knocked down, doubted, ignored, hurt. But what matters now is what you choose to do next. There's something about rock bottom that reveals the truth. It strips away the noise, the ego, the distractions. It leaves you face to face with yourself. And what you do in that moment, when it's just you, your pain, and your potential, defines everything. Because the comeback isn't about applause. It isn't about revenge. It isn't even about proving others wrong. It's about remembering who you are. It's about rediscovering the strength that never left you, only got buried beneath the weight of disappointment, fear, and failure. You've got scars, but scars don't mean you lost. They mean you lived. They mean you survived. They mean you were in the fight and chose not to walk away. Every scar has a story, and every story can spark a comeback. You may have lost time, lost faith, lost people, lost chances, but you haven't lost your power to choose. And that's where the comeback begins, with a choice. A choice to rise. A choice to try again. A choice to believe, not in perfect circumstances, but in your capacity to change them. People will tell you to be realistic, to settle, to be grateful for what you have and stop reaching for more. But your comeback doesn't answer to them. It answers to the fire inside you. The voice that says, "This isn't it for me. I'm not done yet." You don't need a perfect plan. You need a persistent heart. You need to stop waiting for permission and start moving with intention. Because nothing about a comeback is comfortable. It demands that you show up before you feel ready. That you speak life over your situation even when everything looks dead. That you take the first step, even if it's shaky, even if it's slow. This isn't about forgetting what happened. It's about refusing to let it define what happens next. It's about transforming your setbacks into stepping stones. It's about taking every no and turning it into the fuel that drives you toward your next. Yes, life may have knocked you down, but you're still breathing. And if you're breathing, you've still got fight in you. There's more inside you than you've tapped into. More grit, more wisdom, more strength. And the only way to find it is to rise and move. Comebacks don't happen in silence. They roar. But that roar doesn't always come from your mouth. Sometimes it comes from your actions. From showing up consistently. From refusing to give up. From making peace with the past while building a new future. From becoming the kind of person who doesn't just go through the fire, but comes out of it forged, focused, and fearless. You don't need the world to see your transformation yet. You don't need recognition or applause. What you need is to decide. Decide that where you are is not where you're going to stay. Decide that the pain, the failure, the loss, it was real, but it wasn't final. Decide that your next move is forward. That you'll show up differently. Think differently. Live differently. Not because everything is perfect, but because you've realized that perfection was never the point. Growth is. Progress is. Healing is. And all of that starts when you take ownership of your story and refuse to end it here. Every storm you've faced, every tear you've shed, every doubt that crept into your mind was not meant to break you. It was meant to build you into something unshakable. You were never meant to remain in the pain. You were meant to rise from it, to transform it into power, to walk out of the fire with your head held high and your purpose sharpened. The struggle wasn't a sign that you were losing. It was a signal that something greater was being awakened within you. What you've endured was never wasted. It was the groundwork for a comeback that doesn't just restore what you lost, but redefines who you are. This is the moment you stop seeing your scars as shame and start seeing them as signs of survival, of growth, of resilience. This is where the shift happens, from fear to faith, from hesitation to action, from questioning your worth to owning your greatness. Because you were built for this journey. Every resistance you've overcome has only confirmed it. You carry a strength the world didn't give you and can never take from you. And now, you don't just walk forward. You rise, knowing that every setback was preparation, every delay was development, and every ounce of pain has now become the foundation of your power.